Hello and thanks for joining us. In this presentation, we'll be talking to you about Cyberprimed. Cyberprimed Limited has been formed by Inspiring Business Performance and two other organisations. Over the last 2 years, Cyberprimed Limited has introduced a unique people-driven standard in the cybersecurity arena called Cyberprimed. Over the next 15 minutes, we'll be talking to you about the real threat of cybercrime and how Cyberprimed can help protect your organisation against becoming a victim to cybercriminals. There is one aspect that we can guarantee, and that is we are all targets for what are currently known as hackers. Whether it be the well-known organisations that we hear about getting hacked, the NHS being a prime example, or a very small organisation, if you hold data, it is valuable to hackers and they are relentless in their pursuit of your data. If we can stop a hack, then we can do everything in our power to make hacking very difficult for hackers. By working on a structured program in your plans, policies and procedures and an ongoing program of staff development to coincide with these, then we can make it harder for hackers, and this is what we have developed with the Cyberprimed standard. However, for Cyberprimed to work effectively in your organisation, internal ownership must start at the top of your organisation. This is not an IT or HR fad. Cybersecurity is a business risk. Let's take a look at some of the stats around cybercrime. To support this headline information, here are some of the statistical reports that are coming from notable bodies such as the Institute of Directors, Department of Culture, Media and Sport, and Hiscox. The level of computer data in use is increasing at a very fast rate, and with it are the number of hacks and attempted attacks. Yet knowledge of cybersecurity and what to do if a hack does happen to you remains very low. Alarmingly, Hiscox states that human error is the cause of 90% of all hacks, and some bodies say that this figure is 100%. We can all put our head in the sand if we want and hope that this cybersecurity will go away. It won't, and hackers are getting more and more sophisticated. A woman working for a high street optician went into work one morning, opened her emails to find an email explaining the previous morning a speed camera had recorded her car doing 43 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone. If she chose to click on the link, there was photographic evidence of the fact. She followed the link. It was ransomware, and her company had to pay £60,000 to regain their client data. How many of you give a guest Wi-Fi code to visiting people who will be at your office for a length of time? If your guest Wi-Fi is not on a separate server and is connected to your business server, a good hacker will be into your business data within 2 minutes maximum. At this point, a question about your insurance cover. Have you inquired to your current insurance provider what cover and what costs they will provide for cybersecurity specifically? Let's look forward 5 years. In 2022, there will be over 50 billion devices on the World Wide Web, with the data world that supports this immensely expanded. With that, the risk to data being stored exponentially increases. Hackers will be far more sophisticated than they are now, and in fact, they won't be known as hackers, they will be known as threat actors. They will be so professional that they will make the hackers of today look like amateurs. So today, we're about 3 years into cybersecurity and cybercrime. It is a very disjointed world with little understanding of the threats. No boardroom ownership, no support culture for staff, and little is known of what the supply chains we all work in are doing with cybersecurity, if anything. If you do nothing else following this presentation, do one thing. For your own peace of mind, have the cybersecurity discussion at your next board. For when a hack or attempted hack happens, you don't want to be the one person in your organisation who knew what could have been implemented to prevent it. Cyberprimed, as we have mentioned, is a people-driven standard that, if implemented and lived, will give reassurances to your customers, clients, insurers and staff that you have taken cybersecurity very seriously. and you have taken positive steps to protect them from a cyber hack. However, be very clear that this standard may and will drive you to new levels of data security in line with the continual development of your staff in order to put you in the best possible position when it comes to data hacking. This is not a prescriptive standard, but a set of requirements and criteria which you will need to continually satisfy. And in doing so, it will heighten you and your staff's ability to detect potential hacks, therefore decreasing the risks. The standard reviews your plans, policies and procedures around data and security of data. This is then overlaid by the people element. That is, how do you develop your staff in this area and continually develop them in understanding their responsibility in treating and handling data and always being on their guard for the unusual. In a recent study, a number of companies were asked to introduce a new policy to their staff. The staff were asked to read and sign to say that they had read the new policy and understood it. 1 month later, staff were asked about some of the detail in the policy. 75% of staff could not answer the questions. Staff development activities must be ongoing. With regard to business plans, you'll need a named person within your organisation who will have overall responsibility. And if not the MD or Chief Exec, then someone must be identified that sits on the board or senior leadership team. You'll need to ensure that there's a continual review programme which is reviewed at each board and senior leadership team meeting. You'll also need to look at how staff development is being managed and evaluated, especially of new starters. Then, state what your disciplinary routes are for those staff who don't follow company policy or continually ignore your policies. These next 2 slides show the policies and procedures which the Cybercrime Standard requires to be in place and lived by staff. For professional bodies, say for example legal practices, if Lexcel is the standard you have, you will find that most of these requirements are in place already. Other organisations may already have these requirements, but under different titles, which is acceptable. Cyberprimed works on a 3-year cycle. Year 1 is concerned with gaining accreditation and undertaking the first 6-monthly review. Year 2 has 2 6-monthly reviews, as does Year 3. Year 4 is the start of the cycle again. Reviews don't need to be held on site. They could be undertaken through a conference call with selected staff once your records have been updated, which we'll come to in a minute. If you require consultancy support, then this can also be provided. With Cyberprimed, all activity is through an online portal. Once you've signed the Cyberprimed contract, your portal becomes available to you and remains yours while your Cyberprimed contract is live. The Cyberprimed standard is on the portal and you will complete your evidence against the standard using the portal. Your assessor records their findings on the portal, and for each 6-monthly review, updates are also uploaded onto it. In fact, all our communication with you is through the portal. When it's time to negotiate your insurance policy and fees, you can use the portal to give your insurance access to your records and provide supporting evidence. The Cybercrime Standard links into GCHQ's National Cyber Security Centre protocols for information security. Cyber Essentials is, by the government's own admission, a basic hygiene standard. It's completed online by submitting information and assessed by an approved independent centre. Cyber Essentials uses the word should over 40 times in its standard. Cyberprimed only uses the word must. In fact, Cyber Essentials and Cyberprimed are really at different ends of the spectrum. ISO 27001 is more in line with Cyberprimed, but the feedback that Cyberprimed has received so far has been that 27001 is difficult to start if you're not used to the ISO family and the way the standards work, especially around Annex SL. With Cyberprimed, immediate access to the standard is through the portal, and you can start completing your evidence straight away. With ISO 27001, a quality manual must be developed. Cyberprimed is very clear and transparent with its pricing. However, with ISO 27001, prices vary across different ISO bodies and consultancy practices, which, by the way, are different to the accreditation bodies. The General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, is law here in the UK from the 25th of May 2018, and all organisations should now know what it is, what it requires, and should be working on getting ready for that launch date. In a nutshell, GDPR is about security concerned with holding personal data and how this is managed. Cyberprimed is not a GDPR advisor, but if you need help and support, we are able to signpost you to the right professionals. However, it is fair to say that by implementing Cyberprimed, it will act as strong support for your GDPR internal management requirements. At risk of sounding cliched, can you afford not to develop Cyberprimed within your organisation? Just for a moment, reflect on the damage to your business and reputation that a hack would have. One recent case saw a solicitor lose her practice and went bankrupt after a hack, losing her clients' funds. Then there's the cost of insurance, not forgetting the cost of the hack itself or the ransomware demanded. As an example, Cyberprime's prices, based on a one-sided organisation, are £5,000 plus VAT for year 1, that's accreditation and a 6-monthly review, £2,500 plus VAT for year 2, which includes 2 6-monthly reviews, and £2,500 plus VAT for year 3, which also includes 2 6-monthly reviews. For organisations with more than one site, the rate increases by a set amount per additional office. However, we will go through this with you in more detail on request. For consultancy, the day rate is £1,200 plus VAT per day. So by this time, you may be thinking, where do I start? Well, there's never a perfect organisation, so jump right in is our advice. Start by finding out where you are against the standard. It is not a pass or fail situation, and we are here to support you with corrective actions if they are required. If you do decide to work towards gaining accreditation against Cyberprimed, we will need a signed contract and the first year's fee paid. Once that's in place, you will gain access to your portal and the standards so that you can start completing your evidence. We can either provide consultancy to support you through this, or you can undertake it yourself. Either way, when you are ready, we will then appoint you an assessor who can make arrangements with you. If you would like to follow this up with a more in-depth discussion, we can arrange for one of the Cyberprimed team to come out and meet you at your offices. So we've come to the end of our presentation on Cyberprimed now. Here are our contact details, and you can also visit our website at cyberprimed.com for more information. We will be sending you a copy of the presentation, and I do look forward to speaking with you again soon. Thanks for your time. Goodbye.